My dearest Thomas, I hope this letter finds you in good health, because in the eyes of TLX owners everywhere, I fear that is more than you deserve. For last you bequeathed them with a review, it saw only track time. And just like we would never send your sister to a beauty pageant, that was the wrong place to measure its strengths. So,
4 weeks later, from my immovable Spanish ship called the La Quinta, I humbly request and require that you review the car where it belongs, on the road. Respectfully, Jimothy. Okay. If he thinks I'm just going to bring out a TLX Type S and do a full road review of it, he's got another thing coming. I don't let people tell me what to do.
Can you go to the shop, please?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas. And where's James? James isn't here. As you saw at the beginning, he's on a holiday, and he's tasked me with doing a proper, more comprehensive review of the TLX Type S on the road. Because last time I drove it pretty much exclusively on the track, and I didn't like it very much. And all of you got mad at me and told me that it's really great to live with. So that's what I'm doing. I am going to do a bunch of very normal road-based things with this car. I'm going to do what typical Canadians do every day. I started off with a typical Canadian pit stop for some quick energy. Hi, could I have an extra large double, please? Consistency is key in the Great White North, and this local delicacy tasted exactly the way it's supposed to. How does it taste like cigarettes and popsicles at the same time? After that, I attempted to navigate my way to do some shopping. Unfortunately, like all Canadians, I was completely flummoxed by the concept of an always stop. Okay. No. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, no, go ahead. No, you go. No, go. No, you go. No, you go ahead. Go. No, you go. No, you go. Okay, no, okay. Okay, yeah, okay. Sorry. Exhausted and ill from the apologizing, on my way to shopping, I decided to exercise my privileges as a citizen of Canada. That was free, and the care was substandard. Finally, I made it to my shopping destination. No, go ahead. Sorry. Sorry. No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry. Sorry. After a successful morning, I headed to fill up the TLX, but unfortunately on the way ran into one of those new roundabout things. What is wrong with just waiting at a red light for 9 minutes? After filling up, I treated myself to a classic Canadian snack. Feeling like I'd spent enough time living with the car, I finally formed a more complete opinion of it. Made in Canada. Alright, not much has changed since last time I drove this car. It still has the same 3-liter V6 with 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. It is still decently quick. I say decently, hang on to that word, because it isn't really that quick. This is very much the entry point into these kind of halfway to the full fat sports variants of the midsize sedan class. This is going up against the M340i and the C43 and the S4, but it's a little bit cheaper than all of those. And as a result, it's a little bit slower. But it does at least still have a V6. It's not a 4-cylinder, it's got a nice sounding engine. Which has quite a lot of boost. You put your foot down, decent amount of lag, and then it builds right to the red line. Which which is kind of fun. I like it. The transmission is quick when you leave it in automatic mode. If you try and shift with the paddles, you're going through the motions for no reason. It won't bang off the limiter. It's not a very engaging experience. Just let it shift automatically. Now, if I click this dynamic selector over into Sport Plus mode, there we go. The throttle response is quicker now. That's the main difference, really, in the driving department. It doesn't make the car faster, but it makes it feel faster. And that's important, because that's what this car is actually about. Let me explain. If you bought, let's say, a CT4V Blackwing, you would have potentially a manual, extremely good handling sports sedan with amazing steering. If you bought an M340i, you would have a giant killer. That car is really, really good. S4, also quite nice. C43, that's a turd, don't buy one. But this is cheaper than all of those. So it isn't actually one of those performance cars. It's kind of posturing as one. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you just want the hint of performance, that's what the TLX Type S gives you. Took me a while to understand it, but I got it now, you see. The steering is super, super sharp. Really fast steering rack. But it's only good at lower speeds. Because if you try and push it, which is what I did on the track and found out I didn't like it, is that the steering is too fast for how much the car weighs and how soft the suspension is. So if you turn in really quickly, it kind of pogos and understeers on its suspension. And even though it does have SHL wheel drive, which overdrives the rear axle, because this is a front wheel drive based car, and pushes the rear around by putting up to 70% of the torque to the rear, even if you do that, it still feels understeery. Naturally, that's what it wants to do. So don't drive it hard, drive it slowly, and enjoy the sensation of performance, the potential. This is the hammer held above the nail in the mid-size, mid-trim sports sedan category. Nailed it, got it. Because you want to know why? It's nice to live with. If you calm down, take it out of this stupid Sport Plus mode, you put it in normal, and you just cruise, this is a great car. Ride's nice. They've added some more cabin insulation this year, so it's a bit quieter on the highway. Seat's comfortable. Visibility's good. I enjoy driving it. And that's what I discovered when I was doing those very Canadian things this morning. Just driving it around and running errands, it's good at that. It's good at just being a normal, everyday car that's a bit quicker. This is the cheapest way into this category of car. But if you're actually interested in performance, maybe this isn't the car for you. But you know what? At least it looks really good. All right, so it drives a little bit like a copy of a sports sedan, but at least it doesn't look like a copy. It looks the part. This is a really good looking vehicle, actually. I think that good design for a car is the intersection of good proportions, clean lines, and a brand's own design language. And that's exactly what this is. The profile of this car is excellent. I love the way that the hood kind of like humps up a little bit right here, and you get a nice 3-box design, and it looks very clearly like an Acura from the front. It looks like nothing else. It's not trying to be anything but an Acura, and I love it for that. This grille's been redesigned this year, and this badge used to have glass around here for the radar, but now it's all integrated into the actual Acura logo, which is cleaner. The wheels look really good, and now there's a very trendy primer gray. It's nice to see that they're keeping with the times. Anyway, I think that this is a really nice looking car. And if you're buying a car just because you enjoy being next to it, or seeing it out your window in your driveway, or looking back at it when you go into the grocery store, I'd never blame you for that because it's beautiful. But let's take a look at the interior. Okay, so there's a few new things in here since the last time I was in a TLX Type S. First of all, we have a digital gauge cluster now, which I think, is an upgrade. I like the previous gauge cluster, but it was silver or red on silver, and it was actually very hard to read. This is much nicer, and I can change the way that it looks. I can choose to have the classic gauges like that, or I can select this kind of Type R inspired looking one with a tack across the top. I think it's pretty cool. It's a bit busy, but you know what? It's easy to read. That infotainment is bigger. Physical buttons, where they should be, there are. We've got heated and cooled seats, those are physical buttons. The dynamic selector, that's physical. Volume knob, that's physical. Climate control, all physical buttons. That's the way it should be. However, Acura does go one step too far, and they took the gear selector and they made that physical buttons. What's wrong with the gear selector? I hate this in every Honda and Acura product I've ever been in. Speaking of things that I hate, and unfortunately, this is actually a deal breaker for the entire car for me, this little trackpad that you use to control that infotainment is so stupid that I think they're phasing it out, thankfully. Because it's an absolute position trackpad, so wherever you put your finger kind of is where, but it doesn't leave the cursor anywhere. It's wherever you put your finger on the pad corresponds to the location on the infotainment screen. But if you go into Apple CarPlay, that's not true, and it just becomes a normal trackpad, kind of like where you swipe your finger around. It's hard to explain, because it's as complicated to use as it is to explain. I wouldn't buy the car just because of that, but as I said, I think that system in Acura products is being phased out, thank God. Other than that, this is a very nice place to sit because the seat is very comfortable. I have a lot of space, I've got headroom, I've got a really nice steering wheel. And we don't comment about this very often, but the armrest location and size is perfect. You can kind of just sit here, 2 fingers on the steering wheel, adaptive cruise control, and just cruise down the highway listening to what is one of the better sound systems in a car. If you're just an audiophile and you want a comfortable, quick car to drive in that looks really cool, this is a really good option because this sound system, we tested it before, I tested it again, it's fantastic. So to recap, this TLX Type S is cheaper than most of the cars it kind of competes with. So if you're not actually interested in the performance and you want the suggestion of it, and you want a comfortable, good-looking car with a good sound system, look no further. However, if you are looking for something with a bit of a sporty drive, could I recommend literally anything else in this class?
See, Thomas, how hard was that? By not taking it only on the track, you found the TLX Type S's strong points. It's comfortable, it's quick, it looks cool, it has a great sound system, and okay, it's not massively sporty, but as a road car, which it hath now been tested as, it seems to work. The curse on your family has now been lifted. Thanks for watching.